Hey guys, Wooden Sword Samurai here. Welcome back to Bokutou Reads on the Bad Creepypasta. This is Hell's Pasture 8, Harvest Moon Creepypasta from fanfiction.net by Herringway, and I'd like to apologize for not uploading anything in a while. I've just been kind of sad for motivation. So let's begin. Since I was a young boy, I always wanted to own a farm. The lifestyle appealed to me. With a few seeds you can support yourself and provide sustenance for you and your family. You were close to animals, and generally you were in a small community. I loved the idea. So at the age of 11, after getting my first GameCube, I ventured to Walmart and took a look in the bargain bin for something to fulfill my fantasy. Lo and behold, I found in the form of Harvest Moon A Wonderful Life. It was the last copy and I had my last $25, which, as it was just enough. My only real complaint was that the game appeared to have been opened slightly, but my dream would somewhat come true. I had my farm in my hands. Eager to start, I sat down to play. Everything started as normal. Takakura narrating while I watched the game unfold. I entered in all the names I had planned since I was little. For the farm, I chose the name North Farm. I chose the pointy-eared dog that named him Kitsune, thinking A, that he resembled a fox, and B, that it could be affectionately shortened to Kit. Having my own name, I chose to enter Damien as my own name. I started off with some seeds in a cow, a few tools, and dived right into the game. I took great care of my animals as the farm grew, making sure they were all happy and healthy, like I would have if they were my own real-life pets. I'd place orders for food and tools and spend whatever time away from the farm either fishing, helping out with the falls dig, or attempting to lose Celia. I was successful in eviction there, and right there I have to stop and say, fuck you. Celia is mine. And Mary and Celia, they belong to me. Oh, and if you play Rune Factory 2, and this goes for anybody listening to this, if you play Rune Factory 2, you stay away from Dorothy, especially Dorothy. She is mine. Eventually, I would go on automatic, placing orders and forgetting about them. So, when Takakura showed up one day with a new star cow that I had ordered, I was slightly confused. I couldn't remember ordering another cow, but I took her in happily, wondering if she was maybe a gift or a glitch, or perhaps just another order I forgot I had made. I gave her the name Lulu, and treated her no different than the other animals that I had at the time, and she eventually paid for herself. I received the highest quality star milk, and it sold for a small fortune. Eventually, though, I outgrew my childhood fantasy, and saved the game for the last time, shutting off the cube and instead putting in hours on a new Xbox 360. The GameCube went unforgotten, collecting dust for years. Eventually, I got bored with achievement whoring and started browsing my old collection. I smiled fondly when I pulled out my old copy of Harvest Moon. Thinking nothing of it, I cleaned off the console as best I could and popped that sucker in. A warning light went off in my head when the title screen appeared. It was the same Forget-Me-Not Village, the same logo, the same press start screen, but it was the music that got me at first. The music was slow and slightly distorted, and clicked every now and then. And right there is where I'm going to stop. Now notice how, during this entire time, I didn't stop to point out anything wrong with the story, and that's because there was nothing wrong with it up to this point. Other than my rant about girls you can marry. That's important to me. And then this is another cliche, music being weird, distorted, that's pretty cliched. It happens a lot. I'm not really sure where that idea first got, who got that idea first and used it. I can see some scenarios where it would work, but most of the time it's just, oh, it's a creepypasta about a video game. I guess the music should be scary or something, right? So I'll make the music scary in the game. I thought nothing of it. Perhaps it was just my imagination. I pressed start and loaded my old file. Everything seemed as I had left it all those years ago. North Farm, Kitsune, Damien. I played as if nothing was wrong, putting feed in the boxes and doing whatever needed to be done. The second warning light came on when I ventured through the town. It seemed less ... lively than it used to. And I'm just going to start right here and point this out. Ellipses, whichever word is the proper pronunciation, I really don't care. They don't denote a pause, they denote that a speaker's sentence is being cut off. Now I tend to forgive this mistake because I make it myself, and your imagination kind of fills it in, but that's just something I like to point out. It wasn't until after I played for a while that I realized that it seemed less lively, because they were missing. Half the population was gone. I decided to investigate. The few people I talked to gave me disappointing looks and gave no sound. All that read was ... Nothing else. No hint, no clue, nothing. I returned to my farm. Why had all this change come about? I checked my chicken coop, and the sight of it turned to my stomach. Here we go. It was all graphics, yes. but I'll never read the image from my mind. There was blood on the walls and feathers strewn about. My crops were all dead. I checked my house. My family was not there. In the stable and pasture, there were no animals save for my horse, my dog, and my cow Moo. And here's the blood scene. This story really could have gone somewhere great up until this point. The whole idea of him forgetting about this game, coming back to it years later, and finding that everything's changed is such a novel idea. And hell, it's just not even a good idea for a creepypasta. It's good for the idea for a story in general. You could have been a depressing story. It could have build up this entire defeated, hopeless atmosphere that won't really get anything back, and everything's gone, everything's changed, and like maybe even give it some kind of optimistic note where he decides to start all over from the beginning and do better this time, vowing to never leave. Something like that. That would have been really great. And then it just turned out to OMG blood once again. And this is why I'm kind of mixed about this story, because it had such high hopes, it just disappointed me. I didn't get it. What had happened? I paused the game and checked the game FAQs, but nothing like this was written here. I swallowed and unpaused the game. "Welcome back, Damien," came a text box. My heart rate increased as I read that phrase. Just who was that was welcoming me back? I bit my lip and watched the screen terrified as the speaker was brought to my attention. I was outside my house. My horse Rapide, is that repeating? I think it's Rapide, beside me and my dog in front, barking my defense. Moo slowly walked to me. "Do you like what I've done with the place while you were gone?" In my horror, the camera panned about. My precious North Farm had gone up in flames. What was happening? The game gave me control again, and I did the only thing I could think of. I hopped on Rapide and rode away, leaving behind my dog. I could hear the sound of a dog whimpering, bone and marrow crunching, and a swelling noise followed by a happy cow noise. I had no idea where to go. The hotel? Too close. The dig site? Every corner. I thought, where could I go where this beast wouldn't find me? I made a beeline for the twins' house. Cows couldn't climb ladders. Unfortunately, neither could my horse, so I tearily left Rapide to the mercy of the cow and climbed up into the house. I could hear the sound of an angry horse and an angry cow fighting, followed by the death cry of my beloved Rapide. There was more munching, more of that horrid noise. The screen went dark. Then another text box popped up. "Milk me? Yes or no?" Confused by this, I chose the no option. The text box appeared again. "Milk me? Yes or no?" This repeated 3-4 times. The game wouldn't proceed unless I milked Moo. I gave in. I checked the milk I received and was shocked at what I had done. In my inventory were 5 blood milk. The description read, "Special milk from Moo. It appears slick and red, but full of vitamins. Sells for 0G. I came to you because nobody wanted me. You cared for your animals. I wanted to be loved and cared too. Was that so wrong? Yes or no?" My eyes were misting now. It was pitiful. I chose the no option. I was mentally 11 again. "You cared for us, ... You cared for me. I wanted to pay you back, so I made the best milk I ever could." My mouth hung open as I realized what was happening. "But you never came back, ... I got hungry," she said. The screen faded in, and I was outside the house and talking to Moo. I pressed all the buttons in a panic. Reset, power, I opened the cover and nothing happened, and the scene kept going. "You abandoned us, ... Why did you do it? Were we not good enough for you?" My heart sank. And there is no reason why you should be able to turn the game off. Now, if your game's possessed by a ghost or something, then that's another thing. I mean, I can imagine that scenario would probably work if you did it low enough, but no, if you're playing this evil, creepy game, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to just turn it off. Better yet, you could just walk out of the room. You'll be fine. It just kills my willingness to believe the story when this happens, because there's no reason for it. No, that is not it at all. I sobbed, trying to reconcile what I'd done. I loved you all. You abandoned us, ... You abandoned me. And like I said about ellipses again, they don't know to pause. When they start using this as much, that's a warning flag right there. Usually when writers try to use ellipses in a story that's meant to be scary, it's usually trying to create a false way of creating suspense or horror. It really doesn't. Your mind kind of tends to make up the intention and tone of words in your own head, so you really don't need to put ellipses there. unless it's absolutely important that you show that the speaker is pausing, which usually isn't the case. Moon's eyes glowed a demonic red, and she bellowed, "You left us to starve and die! You killed them, not me! You're to blame!" She screamed, and a high, mournful sound emitted from the TV speakers, not from the TV speakers. A sound that hell itself could not replicate. Moon's mouth opened up, revealing all she had devoured. Her teeth soaked in blood, feathers sticking them, cow guts and internal workings over her tongue, and her most recent victims, my dog's head impaled in her tooth, and my horse with a section of stomach missing, revealing his ribs in a hollow corpse. I looked away for fear of vomiting. "I'm... still... hungry," she roared. I grasped as control was handed me for a brief moment, and I opened the rucksack, quickly choosing my sickle. At the last moment, I tapped the A button when it said use. What happened next was a cinematic that I wasn't entirely surprised about. Damien raised the sickle and, shedding a tear, sliced at Moon, slitting her throat and killing her. I took a moment to gather myself, and find out what the sweet holy hell had just happened. A new scene started. I was inside Romana's manor, and all the people from the village were there. Celia came next and explained to me. "We all hid here, in Romana's basement. We're so glad you're safe. Moo. Is she... Damien nodded and looked down sadly. Celia hugged him tight, and Damien returned the hug, and he pulled away smiling. The townsfolk cheered, and all was well. I sighed with releasing the breath that I had been holding and chuckling dumbly to myself. It was over. Or so I thought. The game froze. The sound became a mix of white noise and distorted music. Perplexed, I looked to the console and hit reset. The console started humming, and I looked at the screen. And right there, the whole "or so I thought" kind of thing, don't read that, okay? Because reading that, you know something's going to come up, and even though I'm not reading the words, I can still see the words ahead of that sentence, so it kind of breaks the suspension that could have been there. If you just said, "It was over," next line, "the game froze," the sound became a mix of white noise and distorted music, it probably would have been more scary for the reader. Game over. In memoriam. I watched hopelessly as the names of my animals and some townsfolk came up on the screen of the victim list. After the last name, the screen ran once again, "Game over." Underneath was a picture of Damien, lying in a pool of blood, a bite taken out of his neck, a foot missing, bone and sinew all over. There was a hole where his heart should have been, and organs were leaking out of a hole in his stomach. I felt like I was going to be sick, then the screen began flashing and I seized. Seized? What? What did you seize? I woke up in my mother's arms, sobbing hard. She looked at me sternly. ... That's... whatever. What happened? My neck hurt, my arms felt heavy. I looked at my arms, and my jaw dropped in terror. "Don't forget me, don't forget me, don't forget me" was carved in. No. This was the worst part. You can't... There's no reason why anything can happen in the game should affect the real world. Again, the whole ghost possessing a game thing. Now, I'm bringing that up because that's what happened in Binge Round. Don't copy Binge Round, it's just gonna make it an even bigger cliche. There's no reason for this. It's a game, okay? And I'll settle for not being able to turn it off most of the time, I can forgive that. But not for having arms carved into your arms all of a sudden. It just... I can't find the words I'm looking for. It's just... redundant, I guess. It just... really, I mean, even... why would that happen? There's... why? If you're gonna make the game affect the real world in some way, at least give me a reason why. Why should this happen? I mean, granted, it's kind of forgivable in this sense, because really there's no reason why not playing the game forever would cause it to change this way, but even then, I'm willing to believe it, because it was creepy in the way it was used, not just because of what it had, and this is the point where it just felt like he put that in there just to try and be scary. It doesn't work. It just... yeah. The words are still scarred on my body. Since then I have not touched a glass of milk, wore any leather. I destroyed the disc and burned the pieces, and erased my save game. All those hours, gone. I wrote this to let you know that nostalgia should be just a memory. But if you must, please, please, for the love of God and all that is holy and sacred, erase all your data before starting it again. Because you never know who you may have left behind. That's the end of the story. And so yeah, it really could have gone somewhere great, just not as a creepypasta. I mean, it could. Well, I mean to say that it would have been a great story in and of itself, not just as a creepypasta. And then it just had to root with the blood and not being able to turn off the game. And these are three common cliches. And then, oh, and there was the music being distorted. That was barely touched upon, but it's still there. So I don't I'll still count that, but it's not really that big a deal to me because it's kind of brushed over. But yeah, it's just, this could have been a good story, and it just failed when it decided to be cliched. Even so, it's still pretty good writing. The writer obviously loves Harvest Moon series. He clearly shows good knowledge of Wonderful Life. And aside from a few sentence fragments, he's actually a pretty good writer. And so, I actually did give this guy a review once, and he was pretty cool with it. And actually got his permission to do this. So, if you like, go ahead and read the story yourself and give him a review. He's a pretty nice guy, and he's pretty cool. So, I'll see you guys later.